Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of working on the Nissan Juke 1.5 DCI with the K9K engine. We're going to be taking a look at our DPF sensor and pressure reading problems because we're still having some problems, and I'll show you the codes and I'll show you what we're going to do about them. So in the last video you saw that we changed the pressure sensor pipe that measures the DPF values. Now that code is still coming up. We're also getting a DPF saturation problem. So what I want to do is go back, check that sensor again, make sure the pipes are all okay, everything looks fine down there. Then we're going to try and read some of the codes, read the live data if we can, and then I think we need to perform a static DPF regeneration, which should force the car to do a DPF regen cycle, and fingers crossed that will solve our issues. So let's get it back apart. I'll just cut through a few of the quick bits of getting it apart this time, because we did cover that in the last video, but it might be worth just briefly summarizing the bits that I did to do that, so you can skip your way through and see it. Also, you notice it's not pouring down today, which might be a little bit nicer. Oh, and one bit of good news. I wondered where one of my screwdrivers had gone. It's been living there for the past week, so that's good that I've managed to find that, and it's been jammed there all that time, but never mind. Right, so if you remember, let's pop the wipers off. And I'm going to get the whole wiper tray assembly off, and I'll show you where we're at after that. There we go, we've got the wipers off, the top plastic wiper tray, then I've taken the wiper arm and the motor off, and the lower wiper tray, which means once again we can get to the back and we can take a look at we can sort of take a look at where our pressure sensor sits down at the back of the engine. Now if you remember, it just sits down. Hang on, I'm not sure if the camera is going to see this. Let me see if I can very carefully get my hand in, and so there's one pipe. You can see, you might be able to see my fingers on one of the differential pressure sensor pipes, and there's the second one. Yeah, that's not connected to anything, is it? So I would say that's a fail on my part. Doesn't look like it's snapped, it just looks like it hasn't clamped. Now I was careful when I attached these to the new sensor, because obviously you're screwing these onto a plastic sensor and you don't want to crack or snap the sensor itself, but that's come off. Now trying to work out whether I can reattach that without getting everything off again. I'm going to try it, because I'd rather not have to, because if you remember, take all of these sensor connectors off, and that metal bracket that sits on there is what I removed last time to get access to it all. So what I think I'll do is I'll try unbolting the DPF pressure sensor, which means it should then float a little bit more, and let's see if I can get that pipe reattached. Great, it's just starting to rain again. Now the good news is, what I've done is I've got both pipes disconnected now, so you can see they're both free. Or you might be able to see, if I got my hand out of the way, you can see the two pipes sticking up there. and I've taken the sensor off. I've disconnected it because here's the sensor. Now what do you see that's wrong with that sensor? Yep, I'll just take it out into the light. Actually, the plastic snapped. So for some reason, and it snapped right at the top as well. So I don't think it's anything that I've done, because I don't think I won't have put any extra pressure on that. Now unless I snapped it whilst I was putting the car back together, which I think is very unlikely, and you can actually see the soot on it, which is coming from the cracked pipe, because, well, I mean the pipe that's not attached to anything. If I go and get, luckily I didn't bin the original sensor. If I get the original sensor, put it side by side, you can see we've lost this port completely. Now luckily I've still got this sensor, and you know what, this sensor is probably okay. So I'm tempted to take these pipes off and attach them to the pipes that I've put in and try putting the sensor back on and see how we get on. And this is the pipe, because of course that end is the end that goes down to the DPF. The other end was the one that was attached to the now snapped sensor, because of course the plastic is jammed inside it, and you can see it's broken right at the edge there. So I think that's a manufacturing fault. I think that's faulty. So I'm going to get a new piece of pipe. We'll put a new pipe on it. Well, that took me an awful lot of time. I ended up shortening the pipes a little bit as well down there, so that it all fitted just that little bit better. Now I've done that, I'm going to hop in, and what we want to do, it's also started pouring down, which isn't great. What we're going to do is we're going to clear the codes, because before starting up I want all the codes cleared. So I'm going to grab the iCar Soft. I'm going to show you this on another video if you haven't seen it already, the iCar Soft scanner that I've got. Just plug that in there. It's much easier with two hands, this. That just goes into the OBD port on the Juke, which is down there. That should boot up. Right, let's get the ignition on. First position, and it can bring up all of this, and it's going to let's turn that off into diagnostics. Try and get it so you can see as well. And we go down. And we choose Nissan version 3. We'll go VIN identify. And it's read it, so I'll just press OK. Sorry, I'll have to drop it whilst I move it across. It's really difficult to get you a good view of this because of the reflections. Let me try somewhere else. Choose the country. Press OK. Let's do a quick test. Ignition is on. Oh, I just realised I think I had actually already cleared the codes the other day, because it passed straight away on the engine codes, which should be up at the top. I'll let it finish. And actually, just looking on the dash, yeah, we don't have the shift up and down. So yep, it's showing as a pass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the scanner out, and then let's start the car up. Okay, hopefully we won't get a fault code immediately. Tyre pressure I know, because I've got a slow puncture there. But what I'm going to do is leave that running for a few minutes and just check that we don't get the fault code immediately back. Here's the good news. After, well, I think it's been about half an hour drive, something like that, you can see no engine management lights. I'm going to assume as well that the DPF probably has done a regen, or at least is happy enough, because I've done a decent drive, getting it up to temperature, all that kind of thing, and no fault lights have come back on. So I think we have finally solved the problems on our Nissan Juke 1.5 DCI. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and the previous video on solving this problem. It's a really awkward problem to solve because of where that sensor is and getting to it. Hopefully there's some tips and tricks that I've put on this video that'll help you. If it does, please give me a thumbs up, give me a like, pop a comment down the bottom as well. It would be really good if you let me know if you're doing the same job, how you got on with it and that kind of thing. And I'll see you in the next videos.